He's not gonna make it.
Don't worry, we can rebuild it. We have the technology. Yo, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to Tokimotive. Alright, so I've given the head a good proper clean out, and now that it's all ported and everything like that, it's time to rebuild it. Just got a little suction-y fucking doobie thing that suctions on the valve. Bit of lapping compound, which there, pick it up pretty well anyway. Multi-stage one, so it starts out at a higher grip and then breaks down, and then it slowly gets it to a point where it's near polishing the valve seat. I'm going to lap up these valves, and then once I do that, I can chuck valve springs in and start rebuilding the head. Yeah, once the head's sorted, that's at least a good chunk towards getting the motor rebuilt, because I've still got to order rings and sort a new oil pump. But I've got plenty of stuff to do. I'm definitely not short on stuff to make content on, that's for sure. I gotta stop buying more cars. Got a bucket of oil. I'm gonna dip the valve stem into the oil. That way it lubricates it for when it goes through the guide. Stops it from, you know, scratching up the valve stem and scratching up the guide and everything. Tiny little bit of lapping compound on the seat of the valve. You don't want too much, because you're in trouble if this goes into the valve guide. Like so. Your thing, fucking suction cappy thingy bob. Yeah, give it a lick. And then you just... fucked it. Make sure not to let the valve lapping compound get on top. Otherwise it's not going to seal with your little suction cap fucking doobie. Yeah. Now I've got the light shining here at the bottom so that I can see the gap where the valve is. Show me if any of the valves are bent, because you'll see the light shine more on one part of the rotation than the other. I picked that up when I found the bent valve in one of the other heads. Give it a tap, spreads everything out. Hear the sound difference? The grit's started to break down. Just give it a tap, re-spreads it out. Tap. And I'm not seeing any gaps opening up, so that valve is straight. Basically, I'll keep doing this until I hear that the compound is broken right down, and it'll start to sound fairly smooth, and then I'll give it a clean up and have a look and see if I've got a good seat and a good seal. These are pretty good valves, and the seats are also pretty damn good. So these are valves out of a different head, but they're pretty perfect. So hopefully, with any fucking luck, these just lap up exactly the way I want and do the job for me. I don't have to mess around with anything else, and this head goes together nice and quick. So you kind of back and forth in one spot, give it a tap, give it a little bit of a spin, and just slowly lap it all up. Now there's starting to become not much difference in the sound when you tap the compound around. So this one is nearly done. Once again, I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert. I'm just learning to do everything myself, and I figure I'll give you guys some tips as well. At the end of the day, I do this to have fun, but helping people feels nice too. Now it's getting really smooth. I'm going to call that good. I'll just give the seat a good clean. That greyed out area there, that's the valve, that's the seat, that's the mating surface. If you look at it and you can't see any bad marks in it or pitting, generally a good sign that it's lapped up all right. Pop it back in. Stem's still oiled, but all the compound gone. Hear that squeak? It's a sign it needs a little bit more. I can't see any light shining through there, so that one's pretty good. I'll just give it a bit more till that seat's really nice and smooth and there's no sign of pits. And then that's a lap valve. We pretty much do all the rest of it on a time lapse anyway. Just get some music going and get some music going for myself and just kind of chill out, enjoy, sort of vibe with it a bit. If anything fucked up or interesting happens, I'll take it off time lapse and I'll let you know. Sides down. Looks like, being that they're valves out of another head, it's going to take me about 3 passes, 3 goes to actually get them to seat properly. Here's what it is, it's just taking longer than I'd hoped, and it's a bit boring. So, music back on, have a beverage, and get into it. Back out here after work because last night I was having a hell of a fight. That is the biggest size that I'd ideally use for the intake valves, and as you can see, it's not gonna seal, and it just doesn't. And this one only stays stuck for, if I'm lucky, 10 seconds at a time. It was really annoying. I ended up going back to the valves that came in this head for the intake side because the valve seat angle wasn't matching up right. Cylinder 6 intake valve, I've got to relap a fair bit again because I started lapping it to try and get it to suit the other valve and realised I was just shooting myself in the foot. So hopefully I haven't double shot myself in the foot, and yeah, made this one near impossible to seal. More work to do. A couple of the valves are a little bit grabby still, so I might give them all a quick run over again just to make sure that they're all good, and then I can throw valve springs in it, valve springs, retainers, all that sort of crap, and then I can flip the cylinder head back up and fill the domes with acetone and check for leaks. If I got leaks, I've got to pull that valve out and go again. Bit tedious, but I want this done right. I don't want to put it together and find out I'm low compression in one cylinder because I've, rushed doing the valves. I've got a couple of more cans of throttle body cleaner so I can clean off the lapping compound properly before I check the valves and how they're seating. I noticed it was sticking a bit and I wasn't quite getting it all off with the paper towel. Anyways, put the tunes back on, get lapping, or like I'm trying to start a fire. Yo. Alright, now comes for putting valve springs in. For anyone that's following along, rebuilding their own head, you've got your small shim, which will sit over the top, like so, on that one. Then you've got your larger shim, which will sit down in that lower recess there.
Why do they tape that? When in doubt, use your teeth. Now your valve stem seals, which are these little fuckers right here. As much as you'd like to think the metal side goes to the exhaust side, it actually goes to the intake side. So these are for the intake, your little ones with the metal sleeve on the outside. Your exhaust ones, these little fuckers with the full rubber outside and the two little metal rings on them. That one's already got its seats on it. Now, because I've done that, and you would have seen I taped the valves at the bottom and then chucked a bit of paper towel in there, kind of for wadding. That's to try and keep the valves held up, just to make it easier to seat the valve springs and stuff. Now, pop. You should just be able to pop these down over their seat. Nice and easy. Ugh. Well, I would have thought so. Oh, there we go. That just popped straight in. And that's one valve seat on. So make sure you do your shims before the valve stem seal. Otherwise, you won't get your shims back over. So I'm going to crack on with that. And I can start getting ready to put the valve springs in, which will probably be tomorrow night. I'm filming this through the week because time was not in my favour. Seals are on. You'll notice these ones don't seat all the way down to the bottom. I checked on one of the spare heads that still has them in it from the motor was built, and they're the same. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm pretty confident they're in the right spot. Also, the valve guides are two different sizes from exhaust to intake side. So the little top shim, one lot has a bigger hole and one has a smaller hole. Keep that in mind if you're doing it yourself. Because of that, the seals will only go on one side anyway. So I don't think you actually can fuck it up. But now on to putting the valve springs in. So I'll set the tool and attempt using it to put them back in, which I haven't done yet. So see how that goes. These springs seem very tight fitting in each other. I'm dipping them in a bit of oil as I put them in, just in case they need to be like pre-oiled to not rub and wear. I feel that makes a bit of sense. I'm going to fire this up and hopefully I don't fuck this up. Now for everyone that's already seen it, this is no new use. No English, motherfucker, do you speak it? No new news for you. There we go. But valve spring removal tool I'm using is Force brand. I picked it up at, I think it was a Total Tools, like $9, something like that. And basically, yeah, you use this as a lever and that hooks onto there and you push down on your valve spring. Right? Now, this works well enough for removing them, but I find for putting them on, the amount of pressure you've got to put on this, being a small lever, makes it very difficult to actually put the little collets in. So what I've got is a piece of box tube, which you'll see when I do this next one. I just lean the back of my arm on it and then I can just position the collets in with my fingers nice and easy. It's probably my only drama with this whole kit. Like, fantastic otherwise. Can use it even when the cylinder head's still on the car. Just pressurize the cylinder. It's got the little attachments and everything there you need. So that's my only qualm with it, is this handle isn't quite long enough. But it's not hard to chuck something over the end like I'm doing, and it makes it easy. You got to try and line your valve up so it goes right through the middle. Kind of guide it down as you go. Get it down nice and low. So you got lots of room to drop the collets in. I'm going to try and position them
so they sit on either side. Oh, that wasn't good. Shit. I just broke my camera mount. Fuck. Anyways, zip ties to the rescue again. Now let's try this one more time without the slipping and the fucking it up. Here we go. Another one in. That's it. Tedious, fiddly, pain in the ass, somewhat easy to fuck it up. Alright, so valves are all currently in, and the springs are in. I've put plugs back in the head, ready to leak test it. Turns out my phone died, so I didn't get any of the footage really of doing the valve collets. All I know is it was a bit of a pain. It was fiddly, it was annoying, but I got them in there, and by the end of it I was smashing them in really quick. It's just a matter of getting them to sit down in there properly. I found using a zip tie was best, because it didn't, unlike a screwdriver or anything, it wasn't even the slightest bit magnetic, so that kind of made it easier to shuffle them into place. And I packed more stuff underneath the domes of the cylinder head, so I just chucked some rags under there and then tightened the cylinder head down on top of it using the clamp, and that held the valves in place. So fill the domes of the cylinder head with acetone and see if they leak. Here's hoping I didn't fuck it up. Alright, so it's been about 20 minutes. No leak. No leak. So, beautiful, perfect. Half the reason I used acetone is it's really thin, and acetone, if it was leaking into the ports, just put my finger in, feeling, one, my finger would get cold as fuck, and two, pull it out, you would definitely smell if acetone was on your finger. So I figure acetone was probably the best thing to use, and I had it on hand. Looks like that went fucking perfect. There's no leaks in the valves whatsoever, and yeah, I'm happy. That's a big step towards things. It's Tuesday night, I'm still filming, still working on this thing, so that is gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you got something out of it. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends about the channel if you think it's something they'll enjoy. And as always, thank you guys for coming. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you on the next one. Weird. I'll just start winking at his. Yeah. That face right there, that's the peak. That's peak male performance.